Guys Squad, we are back in the building, baby, and we got to talk about what is going on with Porsha and Simon. I know, we have talked about them all spring, summer, September, okay? I know, but we got to get into the latest from In Touch Weekly. So I was scouring the streets, and I was like, what's going on with the two of them right now? Apparently, Simon is claiming that he paid her a 5-figure monthly allowance in this fight over their prenup. Now, why? That's what we need to get into. So if you guys have not subscribed to the channel, I am not on camera today. I have got some other pressing work I need to get done. But I was like, you know what? We got to talk about this real nice and real quick, okay? So he claimed that he relied on her word that she would not return to the Real Housewives of Atlanta when they negotiated their prenup, is what In Touch Weekly is exclusively revealing. Okay? Now, this explains so much to me. This is like, oh, I'm finally connecting the dots here. So much is making sense, but let's get into it. So again, he claimed that he relied on her word that she would not return to the Real Housewives of Atlanta when they negotiated their prenup, which now makes sense why she quit all of those jobs. Because we were all wondering, like, okay, she's not returning to Atlanta. She is quitting Dish Nation. So was it that she really just signed on to be paid as a actual housewife? Like, was that the agreement? It sounds like it was, allegedly. Okay. Now, according to court documents obtained by In Touch, Simon, who is 60, asked the court to shut down Portia's plea to enforce the prenuptial agreement that they signed before walking down the aisle in 2020. So when they became engaged in the spring of 2021, he said Porsha left her job as a host of Dish Nation and as a cast member of Real Housewives of Atlanta in September 2021. He said those were her two main sources of income. He then said he purchased the $7 million home they lived in solely from his personal separate funds in November 2021. He said that Porsha purchased her own home nearby for $1.8 million. So his was $7 million, hers was allegedly $1.8 million. Now, Simon's lawyer is saying that after Porsha quit her jobs, the parties began discussing a prenuptial agreement in December of 2021. During the negotiation phase and through the execution of the prenuptial agreement, the wife was not working on the Real Housewives of Atlanta nor Dish Nation. Porsha quit her jobs to be a stay-at-home wife, okay? So that is sounding like that was the plan, and that is what we seem to see, right? So the attorney then added that Porsha's decision to quit her jobs, her decision to not return to the Real Housewives of Atlanta, her decision to stay at home and be a wife, and her financial status were all material facts that Simon relied upon when he negotiated and executed the terms of the prenuptial agreement. So relying upon those material facts, Simon began paying the wife a 5-figure monthly allowance in contemplation of Porsha quitting her jobs and not returning to the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Simon's monthly allowance payments to wife carried over into negotiating the terms of the prenuptial agreement. Now, Simon is claiming that they signed a prenuptial agreement on November 17, 2022, 9 days before their wedding. He claimed Porsha did not disclose or either she misrepresented facts to him at the time. Porsha left the reality show in season 13, but announced in February, before the divorce, that she was returning for season 16. She filed for divorce days after the announcement. Now, in his motion, Simon's lawyer is arguing this, that Porsha failed to disclose that she would return to her employment on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Instead of disclosing this material fact, Porsha made it clear to Simon and the public that she was leaving the television show and not returning. Simon relied on Portia's representations, again, or either misrepresentations, made to him during their engagement, the negotiations phase. And at the time, the parties signed the prenuptial agreement. But for Portia's misrepresentations to Simon, Simon would have not signed off on the prenuptial agreement terms. Basically meaning if she were going to continue working, I'm assuming the argument is to be made that he would not have signed off on this prenuptial agreement if you're going to be bringing in an income, essentially. In his motion, Simon said that he spent over $2 million on their wedding festivities. He accuses Portia of taking calculated steps to divorce him just after 453 days of marriage in order to intentionally trigger the provisions of the prenuptial agreement for her personal financial gain. Simon then goes on to point out that Portia has signed on to be the star, if you will, of the upcoming season of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Now, we know that Portia was granted temporary sole use of Simon's Georgia mansion. She argued that the prenup included a provision that allowed her the exclusive use of their home for a period of time if a divorce was filed. Now, here is what Simon's lawyer is saying now. It is wholly unfair and shocking to the conscience for Portia to be able to take Simon's $7 million premarital home, collect a substantial amount of the home equity, and receive an exorbitant financial payout from Simon under the terms of the prenuptial agreement, after Portia entered into the marriage under fraudulent pretenses and failed to disclose and or misrepresent material facts, is what the lawyer is claiming. Simon is asking the court to throw out the prenup that they signed. Okay. Wow. Okay, so let's break this down based on what we can or relatively assume, because I have questions, right? So my questions are this. So as they were becoming engaged, I was really just thinking about like the fact that this all happened super fast, the fact that if this argument is to hold up, then what are the thoughts on Portia doing the spinoff? Because that was also technically a job that she took on while she was engaged to him. Then you add on to the fact that she also did Ultimate Girls Trip, and didn't she do that show where the people go to the moon or something like that? So she was still clearly allowed to work. So my question then is, was it really a misrepresentation because she was still continuously working throughout this period of time? Is it now just that because she is divorcing you, that now it is a misrepresentation because she is asking that the prenup be enforced, and now you're saying that she has signed on for something after that announcement and is using that to basically take what was agreed upon in the initial contract, right? Because if you really think about it, like I said, she's worked since the time period that y'all been engaged. So is it just like I said that that you don't want the prenup to take effect because you're basically saying she can work, she's working. It's not like she's not working. All right. And in which case, I don't really know whose side to really land on with it. Right. Because ultimately, if that was your agreement, the agreement, it doesn't really sound to me like a misrepresentation at this point. It really just sounds like your argument is she's working. Why should I have to pay her? But if you guys agreed that you would pay her, it seems to me like this is much ado about nothing because you've seen her work throughout this period of time that y'all been married. So I don't really know. I mean, at what point was it truly a violation that she worked? Because it was acceptable for her to do Ultimate Girls Trip. It was acceptable for her to do Portia's Family Matters. It was acceptable for her to do the Go Into the Moon show or whatever that was. So Stars on Mars or whatever that was called. So I just kind of, I'm really trying to understand, is it truly a misrepresentation if that's what you guys agreed upon because she was working at the time that you guys actually got married, even though it was on again, it was on and off, right? So I don't know. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I guess this is also what happens when you choose to get married to somebody and you don't really know them all that well, to be honest with you. And that goes for both of them. Like, y'all don't really know each other. So how would you really know who holds up whose end of the bargain on anything, for that matter? Because you only known each other for like, what, a month and some change before y'all decided that y'all were gonna like make this official and take me to the altar in that white dress, you know? So I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below. This is so confusing to me because I'm just kind of like, I mean, I don't know. Anyway, listen, y'all, side note, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. We also have our Deb's House episode 5 and 6 review available for members in the members only community. Be sure to check that out. That's already up right now. You can go and watch that as well. Also, again, like I said, we have our trips coming up to Thailand in March 1st to the 7th. Definitely tap into that. And of course, we are going to Bali on September 24th through October the 1st. So there are still a few spots available for that as well. With that being said, of course, I will catch you all in the next video.